Join us in the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower.
Here.
Commissioner Patton.
Here.
Commissioner Webb.
Here.
Commissioner Goss.
Here.
Mayor Ranella.
Here. Any additions or corrections to the minutes of the last meeting? Hearing none, those minutes will be approved. Okay. Shannon, would you like to come forward? I want to say one thing before we get going here. Last Thursday, our office manager at the fire department, Kathy Anderson, had a stroke. She's in St. Louis Hospital. She's doing a lot better. Even may get released sometime today or tomorrow, but she's got a long way to go, and we need to keep her in our thoughts and prayers. Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
thank you. I'm glad to be here tonight. My name is Shannon Wiesemayer. I'm the CEO with Visit SI. I think the last time I was here in front of you, Mayor Butler was here. So, Mayor Ranella, glad to be able to speak to you about our tourism numbers. As you all know, annually I try to meet with you to let you know, excuse me, where we are, where we've been, and how we're growing in our numbers. And unfortunately, we're always a year behind. So I have 17 numbers to give you tonight. And then when the U.S. Travel Association releases the 18 numbers, which is typically in July, August, then I can have those numbers ready for you. I did leave for you the 2019 Visitors Guide for Williamson County and also a pamphlet that breaks down a lot of the numbers that I'm going to run off for you tonight. But I would like to start out by saying that I'm very excited that Williamson County tourism as a whole grew again in 2017. I was looking back at the reports that I put together when I started at the Bureau 11 years ago, and we have seen an increase in our tourism expenditures, which is money spent here in Williamson County alone, both direct and indirect from people coming to our region. But these are Williamson County only numbers. In 2017, there was $144 million spent here in tourism money. And that was an increase of 5% over 2016. So happy to say that we're still seeing the increase in spending. Payroll, we saw an increase of 6.2% from the year before, and that's payroll in that any employment that is classified as the hospitality industry, which is a little over 1,000 people in Williamson County work in this industry. We saw an increase in the employment for our industry in the county as well, up 3.7%. The best part is the state taxes, the state tax receipts and the local tax receipts. We saw an increase of 10.8% in state tax receipts, and we saw an increase in the local at 5.2. The local tax receipts was $3.35 million for the county of Williamson. So we're very excited about being able to report these increases to you each and every year. As you know, we have a small staff, and we do market in 6 different states. We did take on some new partnerships, working very closely with the Southern Illinois miners over the last year. We were able to secure the Ohio Valley Conference for 19 through 20, and we are working with them on an RFP to submit for a potential 4-year extension. So there is a possibility we may get them through 2024. We also, the most exciting for us, and should be for our community as well, is the partnership with the miners in the Canadian Wild. If you haven't seen anything about the Canadian Wild, you're not on Facebook. That's all I can say, because we are really hammering the marketing for that. It's going to be huge for our area when the girls come here. It's a Canadian softball team that is very competitive. They'll be coming here to train at the Miners Stadium and several other facilities from June until August. They are training to compete in the Summer Olympics. if they go to the Summer Olympics, Visit SI as the presenting sponsor. Of course, we recognize that we are all of Williamson County. We'll have our logo, Visit SI, on those jerseys when they go to Japan. And I hope that they go, and I hope that they win, because that could be a very large market for us to showcase our beautiful community to. So we're very excited to be able to partner with the miners on that. Of course, the Colt World Series is coming back again, which the city of Marion is involved with, and we were very happy to be a part of that last year and in years to come. We are doing some research right now for the future on esports. I don't know how many of you know what esports is, but it's a big rage right now. Your typical outdoor sports and non-traditional sports like cup stacking, rugby, Quidditch, all of those things are really still very big. But right now, esports is where it is at. So we're doing some research, looking at some of our venues that we have here locally to try to bring esports to Williamson County. For those of you that aren't familiar, that's basically gaming. It's sports gaming. So those video people that like to get on the Nintendos, I don't even know, I'm not a video person anymore, my son's grown, but there's a lot of those PlayStations and Xboxes out there, and people do this competitively. And so we're looking to possibly bring something small, build into something large here to Williamson County. We also, I'm sure that some of you have seen our commercial that we've been airing on Channel 3 lately. It's part of our 6-month campaign for summer and spring to get ready for golf. You'll also start to see historical videos. You'll also see the shopping and dining experiences that we have to offer as well. Very excited about kicking off our golf season. My staff is probably going to kill me by the end of the next 2 months, because we do attend several golf shows. We were in St. Louis this past weekend. We'll be in Chicago at the end of this month, and we'll be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in the middle of March. Those are very good markets according to our golf courses that we work very closely with throughout the county. And we always seem to be able to golf a little bit quicker than some of those other northern states and northern parts of our state. So we're always happy to market and partner with our golf courses as well. There's a lot going on legislatively. I don't have to tell any of you behind that podium what's going on with everything, but as your CEO for your tourism department here in Williamson County, it is also my job to keep up on those things that pertain to tourism. And I have, for the last year and a half, worked with Dave Severin. I head up his Tourism Advisory Council. We meet quarterly, and it's composed of different people within our industry across his district, and those meetings have been going very well. We keep an eye on minimum wage bills, we keep an eye on the gaming bill, the capital bill, and several other things that are being talked about. So just know that you're being represented through the tourism industry on quite a few platforms, whether it be through the Dave Severin's Tourism Advisory Council or through the Illinois Council of Convention and Visitors Bureaus that I've served on through the state for the last 7-8 years. So we love what we do, we love where we live, and we certainly love where we need to play, and that is our message to people looking to come to the area. And the numbers don't lie, they're coming, they continue to come. And in looking back at some of the numbers that I've put together way back when I started, we were bringing in about $107 million in tourism expenditures in 2008, and we're up to $144 million in 2017. So we're very proud of that number, and I thank you for your support, Mayor and Councilman. We enjoy what we do for the city of Marion and all of our surrounding communities, and hope to be able to continue to do that till I'm ready to retire in about 15 or 20 years, I guess. So maybe. But be happy to leave some of our visitors' guides. I have one of my staff members bring some out. We try to keep those brochures in City Hall for people coming in. And any questions that you may have, my office, you know where it's at the pavilion. I'd be happy to answer any questions now or in the future.
Yeah, on the eclipse, is there anything quantified on what the eclipse brought to Williamson County and what we can do different for the next go around?
You know, that is something that I still research as to what we can do, what we need to do. It's very difficult because a lot of the people that either booked ahead of time, they either came or they booked and didn't come and stay. So that economic impact is really difficult because the refuge people came and left. I think we saw a lot of people came for the day and then left, but we had a lot of the hotel rooms that were booked, just not as many as I think that we had hoped. So looking to 2024, we're going to be strategic. We had a huge marketing campaign that we involved children with, and we had Eclipse ambassadors that helped us spread the word. But I've talked to my colleagues with Carbondale Tourism and the Southernmost and even Mount Vernon, and we're all still a little bewildered as to what happened during that day, that we thought we were going to see a lot more than what we did based on the eclipsers that we met with prior to that said, you have to be prepared, be proactive. And I think we were very proactive from a city perspective, a county perspective, and even from a marketing perspective of letting people know. But I wish I had a hard number for you. I know that we saw a major increase in lodging tax, but there were several other things going on as well during that period of time.
Thank you.
You know, I got to agree with you. I think a lot of people came for that day because if you was out and about that day, you know, the airport was loaded.
Right.
Our city park was loaded. It just seemed like any place out around the pavilion was loaded. It just seemed like any place there was a blade of grass that somebody could throw a blanket down or lawn chairs, they were there.
Right.
Then we had the congestion on the roads and I-57 getting out of here, which that'll be a little bit easier in the next time around because hopefully by that time we'll have 6 lanes from Marion to Mount Vernon completed at that time. But there was a lot of people here.
There were. But when you can walk into Walmart at 10 o'clock on a Sunday and you can hear a pin drop, we knew people were, you know,
Right.
they were afraid to get out maybe. I don't know exactly why, but it was.
What impact do you think the later in the daytime isn't the next one like at 6:37 or something like that in 2024? It's later on in the afternoon,
It is later, but I'm not certain on the time.
and being in April, there's just a real good chance we may have a thunderstorm.
Yeah, I mean, in April, we could very well have a very cloudy day. But we were fortunate in this part of Southern Illinois that we got to actually see the eclipse, so that was a plus. Because some parts of the region didn't see what they thought they were going to
And
see.
our friends in Carbondale got to see it for about a second,
Right.
you know, and they spent a lot of money in that campaign, and I think just about the time it was over, it broke at the Saluki Stadium. But
Sure.
talking about the Canadian Wild, one thing, you know, we hosted the Coat League World Series last year, and we've also been offered a 2-year extension by Pony Baseball through the 2021 season. So
Right.
that's they were very impressed with Marion, our venue, Rent One Park, and what it had to offer. Those kids had a great time, and I don't see it going away for many years to come. It was great for our motels and restaurants and
Right.
and other venues, but it's, you know, here again, that's also hard to get a grip on too, because they come and go. But
Sure. And I'm sorry that I missed it, but I was in Kanye Town, Japan.
yes, we
With
won't
the
have
sister
that-
city,
won't
so
have that
not this
excuse I had an inquiry last week, and it kind of awestruck me. Asked me if we had had any axe throwing facilities down here, and they were thinking about putting in an axe throwing facility. And I said, well, no, we don't, but what are you doing? They said, well, it's becoming very popular up in St. Louis. And there's facilities up in St. Charles that actually you can go in and take a slot and you can learn to throw an axe. Maybe it's good on relieving aggression or whatever like that, but
Or causing it.
or you know, but they're going to get back with me. I was, you know, you're almost a little bit hesitant to jump into something like that, but they're gonna come, with more information and see, and then at that time, we can reach out to some facilities they're at and see
Sure.
what's going on. But, I'd never seen that as,
It's just a little bit bigger
possibility,
than a
but-
dart.
yeah, so, anyway, yeah,
So,
all right.
all right. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you,
welcome.
Shannon.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else need to address the council? Young lady, you're here for a reason. You gotta be here for a civic? No, I said young lady. Yeah. Yeah. I was kidding you, Lana. Yeah. Are you here for civics class? Okay, and we know your esteemed, is that your grandfather? Yeah, the former mayor of Pittsburgh. Okay. Any questions you have for the council?
Any answers?
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, okay. Anybody else? Okay, well, Jerry, do you need to address the council? Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, number one, sewer. Commissioner Hightower.
I'm wanting to get approval to hire Blaine Burke. He was interviewed last week by our superintendent as well as our lead man. I wasn't able to go. I had to take care of a sick kid, but I'm told that he was, he rose to the head of the class and he was a pretty obvious choice, so
I
that'd be
think-
my recommendation.
I think Brent said he had some, a couple of certifications that could
Yep.
help just set him apart from
Right.
everybody else, so it looks like a great fit for our sewer department. So we have a motion to, hire Blaine Burke. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Renella.
Yay. Water department?
Mayor, we are, as you know, built a huge building over at the Madison Street facility not too long ago. We are needing to pour a concrete pad out in front of it and make the transition from the outside to the inside better. We took bids on it, Marion Concrete Construction, Samrod Midwest Contracting, and Donaldson Concrete. All three of those, the low bidder was Marion Concrete Construction. So it would be my recommendation to make a motion to pour the 80 by 45 by 6-inch apron in front of the water plant building at a cost of $15,047.
Is this budgeted money?
Yes.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Renella.
Yay. Number three, A and B, we need to go into executive session for those. C, Chief?
Well, it is for over 30 years. I think it's been, we've always used the National Fire Safety Council, has always sent out sponsor letters to sponsor kids for the fire prevention program and a safe program we're doing now. Over the last couple of years, it appears that the administrative cost has exceeded the material that we're receiving from them. So I'm asking as a council if they just allow the fire department to do it on our own, to send the letters out, and we'll take care of purchasing the material rather than having a third party do it for us. Because I think last year we received like over $7,500, or the council received over $7,500. And I know Kathy had priced out the material that they sent us, and it's like less than $2,000. So I think we'd be better served, the community, to do it ourselves and purchase that material ourselves.
Yeah, I think we could benefit more the kids,
Yeah.
children, so. I'd put that in form of motion to approve the sponsorship letters for the fire prevention program.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Mr. Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Mr. Goff?
Yay.
Mayor Renella?
Yay. D,
The merit board met last Monday night, and to fill the position from Captain Bruce Plummer leaving, the merit board's appointment was to appoint Brockton Whitehead as firefighter, Lieutenant Steve Plummer be promoted to captain, and firefighter Mike Boyd be promoted to lieutenant.
and those are actions of the merit board,
Yes.
okay?
And I would put that in form of a motion.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goff?
Yay.
And Mayor Renella?
Yay. Okay, street department, sidewalk bid.
Okay, asking council approval of bids for the construction of the 5-foot sidewalk, approximately 400 to 200 feet of 5-foot PCC sidewalk and miscellaneous items on Halfway Road from West Main Street. And I'd like to ask Glenn Clare to come up and go through the bids with us again, if you will, please.
Do each of you gentlemen have the copies of the bid tabs in your packet?
Yes.
Okay. If you'll notice there that we had 6 bids. They ranged from a low bid of $140,387 to a high bid of $240,141. It was quite a spread. The engineer's estimate I had was $169,384.50. The low bid was from Marion Concrete. And if you'll notice, we have a line there labeled total, then as read. If you'll notice that, okay? If you'll notice on Marion, they're all the same except for the last one, Marion Concrete. And the as read was $144,311. The total was $140,387.50. And he explained the difference to me is that his unit price was $575. It should have been $595. But according to the contract documents, the unit price governs. Also, the contract documents say that the council has a right to waive any informalities in the bidding process. So he was asking me to relay, would the council consider taking the 144? And I said, I don't know. They're under no legal obligation to do so.
And but he's still the low bidder.
He's $23,000 below the next bidder.
Okay.
And he's below the engineer's estimate.
And he's considerably below my estimate.
We've did this before with
Yeah,
Odom's Concrete when they misbid the diamond divergence.
oh, yeah, big deal on
Severely.
that one.
So that's up to the council to decide which way they want to go.
What is the lowest figure you come, 140,000?
144,311.
Yep.
144,311.
Versus the 140.
387.80.
You're recommending 140?
That's up to the council to decide which they
That's
want
what
to
we
do.
would do though if we approved the 140,000.
Pardon?
144.
144,311.
144,000.
Yeah, well, he,
That's off of that's the
okay,
total.
okay, well, you wrote that 140, okay,
Now,
Well, I didn't know he was gonna come back with that.
okay.
I'm sorry?
I didn't know you was gonna come back with that request.
Hey.
I told him
Yeah.
the approved bid, the accepted bid at the bid opening was 140,000, which it was.
Yeah,
We read it at the bid opening, 144.
yes, that's right.
That's what we read at the bid opening. Then we went back and tabulated it at the office, and that's when it dropped it from 144 to 140. So he told me he messed up on his unit price when he translated from his worksheet to his bid documents he turned in. So it went from 144 as read to 140 for the actual total, because according to technicality, the unit price governs over the extension.
Yeah,
But he said he made an honest mistake, and
I
he said,
agree
I'll
with
build it either way, whichever way it goes. He said,
Well,
We'll
I'd
take it either
recommend
way.
that we take the $144,373.
I
Is he-
agree, it's still 20,000
Yeah.
less.
It's a
Has he
no-brainer.
turned in a,
That's
at this
my
point,
motion.
probably hadn't turned in the schedule values yet, as far as profit and overhead and that type thing, right?
We never get that as far as profit and overhead.
Or you don't?
No, we don't typically
Okay.
get that, no.
That's
made
all
the motion
reflected
to
in the unit price.
Yes.
Second that.
Okay.
Okay, we got a motion and a second for 144,311. Any further discussion?
Our legal counsel's fine with this too, I guess.
Yes, yes.
He is.
Yeah, okay. Good.
The bid document does state that
Yeah, you can do it.
the city has the option of waiving any informalities in the bidding.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
When was this brought up, Glenn? After the reading?
Yes.
Okay.
We read it at 144, then we took it back to the office, took each one of the unit prices and checked them out and extended them, and that's when we found the error in his unit price for the sidewalk. But it wasn't caught until we left the bid openings and went back and checked all the other 5 checked out perfectly. His the one we had the error in.
Okay.
Okay, Chris,
We gotta call the
call the
roll.
roll.
Got to call roll.
we did not call the roll.
No. No, but I have something for Doug to say too.
Ready for the roll?
Did you say Doug wants to speak
Doug wants to speak, yeah.
after the roll?
Yeah, after.
Oh, okay, all right. Call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Patton?
No.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
Mayor Vanella?
Yay.
Now, I have one other thing, Mayor, that I think it's important that each department have at least a semi-annual report of their department. I know Brent Kane in the SUR came up a few weeks ago and gave a very nice presentation of where he's been and what they're doing. And I've asked Superintendent Phillips to come up, if he will, and kind of go through a few things that we've done, Doug, if you will, please. I think the public needs to know exactly where each department is.
Well, Mayor, Council, thank you for having me up here. A lot of you don't know me, maybe or not. I'm Doug Phillips, Street Superintendent for the City of Marion. I want to give a report here of kind of what the street department does. We cover over 200 miles of road in the City of Marion that we maintain on an everyday basis, whether it be snow, rain, storm repairs, whatever it be. We stripe and paint and decal all the emblems on the roads for traffic safety. Everything you see on the road is done in-house by the department with our own rig, with our own men. 3 years ago, we purchased our own equipment to make our own street signs. Before, we were on a 3 to 5 week turnaround time for signs, regardless what it be. The 911 system was without a sign on the street till we would get another one. So we built a sign room, purchased the equipment, and done a training, had them come down and do training for several men in the department to make our own signs. So if we have a sign down today, usually within a couple hours, we can be back and have the sign refurbished, remade, and put back up so we don't have any downtime for a street sign not being, or street not being labeled. So we're very proud of doing that. We make all kinds of signs, from speed limit to load limit to parking signs, handicap signs, anything that, have a sign, we can usually make it in the department in-house. So we also, a couple years ago, we had a contractor was doing the road surfacing with, and we noticed that crack filling underneath the surface of the new road, they had a pretty hefty price on doing that crack filling. So we done some research and purchased our own machine to do all of our own crack filling on roads before they're surfaced, and even roads that were not surfacing. If we fill the cracks and with a hot rubber surface material, that we can protect the base of the road, keep the water out of it, prolong that road being serviced maybe for another year or two till we can get to it, and still have the road in good shape and not crumbling. We take care of approximately 2,700 manhole storm boxes in town. That's everywhere a storm collection box comes to with a lid. There's normally a lid there you can take off and access that box where several storms may come to a box. And we have a jet rotor Vector truck that we can rod them lines, bring it all to that collection box, Vector it out of there, clean that box, keeps our water flowing for the storm drainage boxes all through town. It's a big job, 2,700. That's a low figure on them, but that's a pretty concrete one on a lot of our main roads that we try to keep water flowing in the storm boxes. After the winter months, we will get a crew together, and that's usually when you tell failure on a road. So we'll put together a crew, and me knowing already in advance what roads we're going to surface, we try to run the roads and evaluate them and see what we want to do as far as repair to damage or any repair we want to do to get ready for surface. So it works out real well having that already in place, prior months to that when you know what we're going to be doing. In the wintertime, we run 18 snowplow trucks out of our department. We have 2 in the water department and 1 in the cemetery to cover all these roads. And it's a big job, but like the last snow we had, we were 13 and a half, 14 hours. We were able to cover the whole town with them trucks to keep the roads open, safe, everybody, all the traffic moving. So it's a big plus to have that kind of equipment in-house to remove snow and get it cleaned off. We bid out the contract every 2 years for salt to try to make sure we have adequate amount and know that we have a guaranteed amount to if we have a bad winter, we at least know that we've got a stockpile of salt or for melting the roads and keeping them clear, which is a big thing. It keeps the cost down. We're able to bid 2 years in advance and keep it stored. It's money in the bank if you don't use it. So that's a big plus there. This year, in 2018, as far as storm tiles and driveway tiles and road tiles along the side of the road, we've done about 800 feet just of replacements, not repairs, but just a replacement, which is a lot when you figure out what you have to do to get them replaced and tear them out and replace them. So it's the ones that we don't do is a big storm job that an engineering firm may bid out, and that's contracted out. But for the most part, a lot of the repairs we do in-house out of the department itself. So concrete jobs, anywhere from sidewalks to drive entrances to roadways to curbs. Over the last 8 years, we've done approximately 15 miles of sidewalk in various places. It's not any one place. We've had a list, and then we've had TIFs jobs that we've done. And when you add it all up for residential to commercial, we've done close to 15 miles of sidewalk, and that's a long way to go with sidewalks when you figure that kind of footage out, on the sidewalks. We've got a hot patch machine that we try to this time of year when this rain dries up. We've got a hot patch machine that we try to get the asphalt in it and get the roads patched instead of just using a coal type mix to where it's easy to level and get put in the holes. And in the event that we still have the water and we always to have a major pothole, we're using a product that's activated by water now, which is in buckets. It's an asphalt mix that's activated by water. So if we've got a big pothole that your patch material won't stick in, we can put that material in there. It's activated by water, and the hole's fixed until you can get to dry weather to do major road repairs. So it makes it nice to have a secondary that you can cover the roadway in this kind of weather. If in the event it's in the winter time, you can put an RV antifreeze with it, and you're still able to patch the holes in the road and keep the road in decent shape for people traveling. So we have 19 employees out of the street department, but beginning in the spring, we'll run 3 full-time ones on bush hog machines, mowing roadways. We have 2 of them on a 0 turns, mowing all the city buildings and the right-of-ways that the tractors can't get to. We have 2 striping, all the roads. We have 1 run of street sweeper full-time. And that leaves you with 6 guys. When you add up what guys are designated to the jobs, it leaves you 6 guys during the summer months, 6 to 7 guys, to do the road work that we try to cover, which is a job well done. I believe that, you know, when you see what you do with the guys that you have. So we build a salt brine system ourselves out of the department that we mix the salt with to make a brine, and we made our own spray trucks to spray on the road. And a lot of can see that is it's an ice melter. It's not. It's a brine solution that's a product between the roadway and the ice to keep it from bonding, so it's easy to get off whenever we do plow it, to make it a little more easier for us and quicker to get the roads cleaned off. And another major deal we done is 3 or 4 years ago we started putting some liners in some storms that we've got a lot of underground storms that we are having fail, and in order to dig them up, excavate them, tear up yards and private properties or business properties. We've got a local company now that's doing it, but they put a fiberglass activated liner inside of a pipe and then cure it with steam, and it produces a hard fiberglass structural liner that's good for 50 years. And it'll average anywhere from 3/4 of an inch thick to 1.5 inches thick, depending on how big the storm is. We've done about 4,000 feet so far of that, you know, to in residential and commercial. We just done one this year that was 10.5 feet deep. We'd had to dig that up and all our burden off and have all that mess, and we were able to, in one day, to have that liner put in, and you didn't even know we were there. So that's a great thing that we've done in the department. The street lights, when we all get done here this year, we will have close to 600 lights that we have converted, whether it be traffic signals, your yellow, red, and green traffic signals, your street lights, your lighting around the square, roadway lighting that the city maintains. We changed all that from metal halide and low pressure sodium to LED. And on paper, it's showing that when it's all equalized out, the city will save close to $100,000 a year on all of our lighting when you consider all the 29 traffic signals that we have, intersections and street lighting, and all of our other lighting that we actually maintain, which is all maintained out of the department too. All these intersections and lighting that I'm mentioning it'll save on maintenance for the department also. Comes with a 7-year guarantee on the bulb, so we won't be out that cost for 7 years other than changing a bulb. So I think it's a great thing what we done there. And street sweeping, all these streets are swept by a street sweeper. You know, you've got, every day you go out, you'll have several loads of trash that you just don't see until you cover a lot of roads. You know, the cinder mix that we use to trash and dirt and rock that contractors lose, and it makes a big difference when you're able to sweep them streets and bring it in and keep it clean. So, but I just wanted to kind of give a report on what the street department actually does. It's a very talented and successful department. Proud to be part of it, leader of it. Thank you very much for the council and the mayor for supporting us and giving us the equipment we need to do the job effectively and safely. It makes a big difference when you have the equipment that you're able to work with and get the job done. So,
I got a couple of questions. Have you put a cost estimate yet to the damage to our road from the winter just to now?
no, we haven't been able to yet because it's we've got a couple failures, not bad. All this rain we've had is we've had to do some repair on the sides of them where the ditches are full, it's washing out the edge of the road, but we're able to get out there and pack rock into the side and save it from washing out anymore. But once the winter's over and the rain, where we can dries up a little bit, where we can actually give a good evaluation on it and see what we got. We've fared pretty well.
Yeah. Also, and I don't know that they have them, but Does the county take any of their prisoners out for trash pickup?
They done that 2 years ago was our last time. They quit doing that.
And
They'll do
the only
some.
reason I say that, have you seen the trash on the banks out at Boynton Street?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah,
sickening.
yeah. Where
that
all the,
people just discard their trash like that. And if you go to our flood control project there, our Boynton Street ditch, and it's just
that's
it's
kind of
just-
what I was
it's
getting
just
at with the
lying.
street sweeper is that,
Yeah.
just stop and think, when you bring in 4 cubic yards at a time with that sweeper and dump it, or bringing, truckloads in, it's just think what you see what's there now. I mean, it's anything from milk jugs to water bottles is a lot of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
Restaurant trash bags is a lot of it, but
I was
it makes a big difference when you don't realize it till you see that sweeper come in with loads on it and see what you dump.
I was talking to Jerry Bears a couple weeks ago, and he had to do a project out at the on the refuge in Crab Orchard Creek just before it got to the lake. He said he never knew Marion drank that much Mountain Dew. He said it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But
We've had a lot of question come in during this large rain we've had, and I want to touch on one thing. 5 years ago, we hooked up with the refuge and took 2 big tracos into the refuge and 6 to 8 guys with chainsaws, and we went all through them main arteries of the refuge with tracos and chainsaws and helped the refuge clear that. Helped us as far as the watershed, and piled them trees off site so that it wouldn't get back in the creek, when it got up.
and we also put in a new box culvert for them.
Yeah, we added a 3rd tier out at West Plains out
Yes.
there. Yeah, but we went all the way to the end as far as we could go, and you would be surprised at the dams that were holding up to 8 feet of water in there that the beavers had plus the logs that we tore all them out, and like I said, that was a little over 5 years ago, and it's made a big difference in the way water gets away in Marion, especially Lynn-Gale out in that area where refuge hits it first. And
They've hired a professional hunter out there and have eradicated a lot of beavers. And when they told me the number, I said, "Have you got them all?" And they said, "We probably hadn't even phased them." He said,
I had
2
no
days-
idea. I had no idea.
Two days later, he said, that's it's blocked again. So I mean, it's just a constant battle that they fight out there too. But you talked about mowing. One thing that and I'm proud of our cemetery and our street department about how we keep mowed. But one thing that you and I and Commissioner Gauss talked about doing this summer is from 148 into Marion, keeping our right-of-ways mowed. It infuriates me that the state of Illinois doesn't do a better job on that. And
But when you go on our
Yeah.
secondaries, like Old 13 that we mow all the way
yeah,
past Pentecost,
so
and then you move over to New Route 13.
well, I told them we was
your
going to do
centers
it
aren't
this
even
year.
mowed. It makes it kind of tough.
And they got to talking about some butterfly or something like that, and that's why they couldn't do that. And I said, well, we're just going to have to ask for forgiveness. I said, because you go into Carbondale and you see that it is mowed.
Yeah.
And I think, they encourage the business owners out there to mow out in front of their property too. But, to let that go like that, I just don't think it shows, where we're going at, especially in this state. You cross the line into Kentucky or Indiana or Missouri, and they are mowed. And we all know that their gas taxes aren't as high as ours, and unfortunately, they may be headed in the wrong direction again if our legislatures, and they probably will get their way with that and minimum wage. But Doug, you do a good job.
Thank you for letting me give you kind of a summary of what we do. I mean, that's touching on it, but
One thing gonna give you comfort too, Doug, I think the mayor said he's gonna add you another man so he could do that mowing. I think I heard him say that.
Well, we're going to discuss that in budget talks.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
maybe it may take two part-time
Yeah,
people, but,
it will.
On a wet year like we had in 18,
Yeah.
I mean, we had enough
Yeah.
rain that it kept you going
Yeah, you couldn't
right
do
up
it.
to November. And it's a lot to mow. It really is.
so, it is, and just, I just think it sends a signal that, you know, we take pride in, you know, in keeping them mowed and weed eated like that. I think it just sends a signal about our pride in our city, and, I think it's something that, we definitely need to consider.
Which this year we did after we'd talked, we took guys and went all the way from
Yes,
Ike Nissan all the way in and done all the intersections and cleaned them, and it made a big difference. It made a big difference.
You know,
that'd be Ike Honda.
Doug, another cost savings too is getting the heavier
Sorry, Mike.
cul-de-sacs and stuff. You know, have the ordinance with the trash trucks, keeping them off our cul-de-sacs and dead-end roads, you know, so.
Yes, it's helped a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
And the trash service worked with us. They have bought 2 brand-new single-axle trucks to
Yeah.
do a lot of our city streets. If you'll see the new
Yeah, I've
blue and
seen
white
them,
one going around town, and they worked with us to do the heavy routes early in the morning so that they don't get on the roads and then end up on the commercial streets, you know. So it's worked. They've really worked with us on that. I mean, this new one that they've got, they brought out and showed us, and that's 2 of them now that run the city streets and the cul-de-sacs, and they've abided by the rules, so they've
Yeah.
done a great job, and that's helped a lot. So, I mean,
Yeah.
because all of our cul-de-sacs have pretty well been resurfaced now, so it's
Good
thank you
job.
thank you very much.
Thank
job.
you. Okay, Chris?
Thank you, Doug.
Council, Mayor, good evening. And I also want to go on record to say thank you, Doug, for your department as well as the cemetery. You've been instrumental in helping us in functioning with snow clearing, the mowing, of course, of the cemetery, signage, a number of different issues. We don't have the equipment nor the means of doing so with the staffing of that specialized ability. So really appreciate it. You know, we call upon you, and you've been amazing. So thank you for that great report, and thanks for your help. Okay, I've got one part-time recommendation for hire this evening, and it's for a maintenance position. The individual is Gregory Kerrigan for maintenance at $9 an hour. This is a replacement of a position for a resigned and separated maintenance staff individual. So it's not an additional staff member, it's a replacement.
Make a motion to make this hire.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Godwin,
Yay,
Goss,
yay.
and Mayor Vanella.
Yay.
Chris, will you have a letter of resignation for the treasurer's office?
Yes, yes. It was in email form, and separation form has been filed.
Off their employee list.
So, yes, that's correct. Yeah, that was initiated already.
Thank you.
And for the hub, there's some events coming up that I'd like to announce for February as well as March. We've got a lot of activity going on. A number of different programs that are full force right now with Hubballers basketball programs, in addition to the Adult Basketball League, and that's going strong. Events that we've got coming up on Friday the 15th is this coming Friday is a Tri-Scuba. We do that every year. We do 2 to 3 Tri-Scuba events in partnership with one of our sponsors, Mermet Springs Dive Center. So that's a Friday night event. Then we have on Monday, the 18th, we've got a blood drive in the North Gym. On the 25th, we've got a Hungry for Knowledge that we do, a lunch and learn type of event with Heartland, that we partner with Heartland on. And that one is for healthy eating, post holiday healthy eating. And then follow up in March, we've got another March 16th Tri-Scuba event. That's on a Saturday. And then we do our annual fundraiser for CASA, and that's on the 30th of March. So that's coming up as well. And I'll repeat those announcements, and we'll get those, of course, that information out there, and flyers and website announcements and a great deal of press there. So wanted to talk a little bit about what we've got coming up in February and March.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 6, have a resignation letter here I will read from the library from Mr. David Patton. Dear Mr. Patton, please accept my letter as notice that I will be resigning from my position here at Marion Carnegie Library to accept a position with another company. February 22nd, 2019 will be my last day of employment. Thank you for the opportunity to grow professionally during my employment. I would also like to thank you for the support you have shown me as well. You have a wonderful group of employees and fabulous patrons. Please let me know if there's anything that I can do in the library's transition in finding and training my replacement. Sincerely, Lindsay Clark. And Clinton and Lindsay has submitted her letter of resignation as effective as of the 22nd of this month. So we need a motion to approve that resignation.
Make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the floor? Hearing no further discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Vanella.
Mayor,
Yay.
could I read a couple of statistics out that library? That's another reason I'd like the departments to make a report. We have the finest library south of Springfield, and I don't think they get the due recognition. For example, they have so many programs for adult, juvenile, young adults, but last year the traffic in that library was 160,853 people. That is amazing to me. And I think that Dave Patton and his crew should be commended for it. Just want to make those statistics public.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7, senior citizens. Our longtime custodian, Kenny Gabriel, is retiring after 35 years, and he has also submitted a letter of resignation to Latina Poole and the Marion City Council. I've enjoyed working for the City of Marion for the past 35 years as custodian at the Marion Senior Citizen Center. Because of health issues, it is time for me to step down and retire. I will be taking the rest of my vacation and not be returning to work due to my health. My last day of work will be February 26, 2019. Kenneth Gabriel. And I just got to say this about Kenny. This guy took pride in his job. And from washing dishes to wiping down the walls in the bathroom to making sure the floors was clean to every chair being in place, table in place. He was a very good employee, and like I said, took pride in that center. So needless to say, Kenny will be sorely missed down there.
Yeah, bingo won't be the same without him.
Bingo, if you've ever heard Kenny call the numbers.
Very unique voice.
Yeah, he's got that very unique voice, under the eye, 23, but yeah.
It's pretty
And
good
I just-
impression,
Yeah. And, I don't know about you when you played down there, but he just never seemed to call my numbers. Well,
I won one time.
yeah. Well, you don't want to win. You want to let the folks down there win because that's what they're there for. Okay,
I make a motion to accept that resignation.
thank you.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Patton.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb.
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Vanella.
Yay. IT, turn the camera towards the podium too, please.
Get your good side, Terrence.
I don't think that's quite got you there, bud.
Do what?
I don't think that's quite got you there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Tracy.
So on the agenda, you guys will see that I am asking for the Mayor Council's approval to renew our Cisco Meraki licenses for $9,367.44.
44.
That's the number. So, the Cisco Meraki devices, that is everything encompassing the entire city. So our IT department, we're responsible for over 400 devices. So we've got everything, you know, police, fire, street, everything. You know, we have to keep it afloat. In years past, before I had these devices, I had to drive across town. You know, if you think about it in your home, when your router goes out, your Wi-Fi in your home goes out, first thing you do is unplug it. Well, it's good and convenient because you're at home, you can do that. But if I'm here or I'm across at the sewer department and the pavilion calls, I got to drive all the way over there, unplug it, plug it back in. Or if I'm asleep and I get the call at 3 in the morning because I'm 24/7, I got to go to the PD, I got to unplug it and plug it back in. You know, fortunately with these devices, and we're one of the first cities in the state to be a total Cisco Meraki town. You know, I get calls from other locations asking, how we did it, the costs associated with it. But to make a long story short, if I've got a police officer that can't get a video to download at the PD and he's calling at 2 in the morning, the first thing I can do is take a look on my phone and I can reboot things remotely. So I don't have to drive all the way across town. These devices alerts me for everything. If I've got someone trying to hack into my system, I get an email. If someone plugs in any device that's not a city-related device, I get an email. I get a text message. I was just checking earlier. I could tell you, like right now at the hub, we got 75 people online. You know, you know, at the pavilion, that really came in handy when we had our hospice gala. That was a real big concern for the city and for Jared and everything else because there were over 1,000 people there. So you take 1,000 people, it's kind of like your water towers. You know, you've got too much of a population sipping that water, eventually it goes dry. So I'm up orchestrating, doing what they call load balancing. It's kind of like their SCADA systems. You know, robbing Peter to pay Paul to keep it going. Nobody had a problem out there. They all had a real good time. So, you know, again, I don't bore you with all the details. I could talk out to you all day.
So this is annual fee, right?
This is an annual fee, and that's a negotiated down fee. Normally that's about a $12,000 deal.
Okay, thank you.
Give you a shout out to Terrence for the Julie locates. We had over 3,200 Julie locates come through our department in 2018. He keeps that going for us.
3,200.
3,200, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's,
Somebody has to go out and do the locates if you're called at 2 in the morning because of, a utility break or whatever, somebody has to go out there and do that Julie locate.
And that's important because, like some of you guys get those end-of-day audits. If we don't get, my last 2 emails come in at 12:15, and if my phone don't ring at 12:15 at night, then something's wrong. We've got 2 hours to respond to a 0 locate, so I know the emails are down, and we house all that stuff in-house. So we have to take care of and get those things up and running, so everyone's good to go.
yeah, and I want to thank you too for getting those end-of-the-day audit reports too.
Yeah, that's a dig.
12:15.
If I don't get it, then at least I know y'all got
I
it.
appreciate it. Thank you.
That's my signal that I can go to.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, it is.
Got more eyes on it.
All
So,
right, let's go
but
to sleep.
that's all I got.
Or take the dogs out. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'd make a motion to approve the maintenance agreement for the Cisco
Second.
Meraki.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the floor? Hearing no discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
Mayor Vanilla?
Yay. Okay, number 9, Lighthouse Shelter. It's our annual donation to the shelter that we do on every year. It's part of our budget. And I think we know what that place means to this city and the housing of the homeless and trying to help those that are not as fortunate as us. And I would like a recommendation and a motion in such order.
And I might say, if I may, Mayor, that they have an urgent, critical situation down there right now. Their security cameras are going on the fritz. And they have $3,000 that they could put on it right now. If another $5,000 would get them where they could operate now. If there's any way that you could increase the one-time fee from 2 to 5, it would be nice. If you can't, well, we'll have to go another route, but I'd like to maybe this one time add another 5 to that. That'll give them 8,000 to get their securities. There's issues down there that really have to be covered.
Well, I understand that, but at the same time, we have a budget that we have to live in, and we're 2.5 months from that budget being complete, and we just spent, what at the, training center, 13,000, and another 8,000 at the, Boynton Street Center. Stephanie approached me about, hiring an additional person down there. That's something that we gotta research for the after-school program, so, I just don't know if those monies are available right now, and that's something that, I think, we need to wait on until we see what's going on. Have they always had security cameras down there?
Oh, on all wings, and some of the wings are not covered, and that is a problem, big problem.
Okay,
And they can't get it back in business on the money they have. So, if they have to wait, they'll just have to wait. Hopefully, nothing will happen.
okay. Well, that's where we at, and we pride ourselves every year staying within our budget, but, Steve, you got any idea how close, we gotta be running close after, the Jared Perkins deal and then the 20 some odd thousand for those?
Yeah, right now, in general fund, we're running just a little bit behind the budget amounts.
Okay. But we don't, I guess our last, sales tax, was it for October or November? The last ones we just received? Okay, so,
December will be this coming,
yeah,
will be in March. We'll
Yeah.
receive it in March.
okay. It's up to the council, but I mean, it's just, like I said, it's something that hasn't been budgeted. It's something I don't like not being able to do, but at the same time, like I said, we pride ourselves living within our means, and we've had some, once again, some things happen, out of our control that, we always can't, spend monies if we don't have it.
So you want to appropriate it for next year's budget?
Well,
That'll be in the next year's budget. In the meantime, we got 60 days without any coverage. But, if you don't have it, you don't want to do it, it's okay. It's just my recommendation, but we'll have to live without it. So I would make a motion, we continue the $2,000, and if unless someone wants to amend it to an extra 5.
so we have a motion on the floor for the annual donation of $2,000. We got a second? Any discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Gauss,
Yay.
Mayor Vanella.
Yay. Okay, we just did the 10, so we'll move on to 11. Gail, you wanna do 11?
Yes. This is a inducement resolution for Black Diamond RV. What this would do is, Black Diamond RV is planning a project. Currently, they're going to build a showroom that will be next to their warehouse, just north of where their current warehouse is on Black Diamond Drive. This part of the parking lot is currently in TIF 1, although it's just taxed as a parking lot. What we'd like to do is add this to the North Commercial TIF, and Black Diamond has already divided the property through the county to make it it has its own tax ID number, so it would not be taxed the same as the warehouse. And it would, to go into North Commercial TIF, it would be, upon the council's passing, it would be assigned a new base on current value, and then it could be moved into, by amendment, the North Commercial TIF. they've got a nice project starting here, so they can have. And Mayor, you've talked and talked to Black Diamond. Would you like to describe their showroom project?
Yeah, it's gonna be 32,000 square feet. It's gonna, and a lot of it's gonna be open. Their expectations of sales in the RV sector is beyond what they could even comprehend. Couple weeks ago, they had the show at the pavilion, the annual boat show, and they at Saturday before noon they had sold 5, and was pending the sale of another with approval of financing. So these guys are taking off, and they need this additional show space, and that's exactly why they approached us about moving this into the North Commercial TIF.
Okay. Yeah. Is that it?
This
I
would
make
just
a
be a
mo-
motion to
I make a
approve
motion
the
to approve the
resolution.
resolution for the inducement.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second on Resolution 2019-09. Any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Gall?
Yay.
Mayor Vanella?
Yeah, okay, ordinance 3495, we're gonna have to actually table because if you look in the agenda, it says repeal, but doesn't say discuss, approve the new ordinance, so we're getting closer, but we'll have to hold that off to the next meeting. So we'll have to table ordinance 3495. 13, discuss, approve waiving the requirements for part-time employees to live within the 10-mile radius of City Hall. We're getting more and more employees that, that live outside that, obviously, one of the things, they're not gonna be with us forever. They're not gonna probably be here in the 18 months that they are required to move within the city. So, that being said, I don't see any reason why we would hold those part-time employees to that 10-mile radius, and that we amend our city handbook to delete that requirement.
Well, I have a question, Mayor. Why are we having so many people outside the 10-mile radius employed? I've noticed in the ones that I've been questioning, they're all basically in the hub. Do we not have enough in our county that we can hire as a part-time for the hub?
Well,
Or
I
are we
guess,
limited to access to them, Chris? I'm curious why they're all out of town.
If I may, from the start of our operation, we probably in a 4-month period of time hired 65 to 70 employees in order for us to open. And that was opened by January of 2015. We did that in a 4-month period of time. We have very specialized positions that entail certified individuals in very unique fields, whether it's group exercise instruction, aquatics instruction.
lifeguards.
Lifeguarding. Yes, absolutely, lifeguarding. We certainly look at residency. We've started out with many individuals beyond the 10-mile radius in order for us to even function. But these positions, several of them, there's those that I mentioned in addition to camp counselors, even coordinators, but personal trainers, group fitness instructors, aquatic instructors. And in order to get qualified individuals, there are many qualified individuals in many positions in Marion within 10 miles. We have needed to reach out beyond that. I'm sure there are others in the city, in other facilities and so forth, that find themselves in similar situations, but we've got a great deal of part-time employees at our facility. And in order for us to operate, that's where we started, that's where we've been.
Well, I have a list of 14 that are Hub employees that I assume are part-time.
Yes, but of those 14, only 3 do not live in the city limits, in the 10-mile boundary currently. And one of those was a contract employee who came on, and we did as a hired employee because of his specialized certification for lifeguard instruction. The other remaining of those all have been hired within the last 18 months. As also on your list, there are 5 police officers that were hired within the last 18 months that do not live in the 10-mile radius. But according to our handbook, they have 18 months before they have to resign.
True.
Now, the other thing to think about is most of our Hub part-time employees make minimum wage. When you're hiring a part-time employee, we have many from John A. Logan and SIU who would like a job to meet, and especially with lifeguards. So part of it is, by our 10-mile restriction, we're actually we have college kids that actually can fill. And often when you talk about turnover, some of these college kids change courses every semester. So we try to fill for some of our specialty positions through that. So I'm very happy, and I'm very happy with all of the Hub has done to maintain the 100 plus that are within the city 10-mile radius. So part of it is, this would be an exception, but it's an exception with, they do ask where they live, we check the mileage. So it's one of those things that I would hope the council would consider making an exception.
What is the advantage of waiving them when they're not going to be here a year and a half anyhow?
So then why would you want to have it?
Well, I'm just asking, why are you waiving and making them an exemption when that's what I'm asking. Those people are not going to be here a year and a half anyhow, are they, Chris?
Well, I get, well.
So they don't have to be moved in because they got 18 months to come in.
Well, I mean, the Hub aside, we have other facilities, the
I'm not talking
library.
just Hub.
Yeah, we have other facilities that hire part-time people, and I just don't, it's people working under our labor collective bargaining agreements. They're required, but they're people, they're employees that do a specific job that we need within a close proximity to the city. Fire and police are well, all of them, but
Well, I understand
a kid
that,
sitting
Mayor.
at a kid sitting at a front desk. Is it really that important where he lives?
It's just according to the handbook it is.
I understand that. That's why I brought this before the council
But
to
why-
exclude from the handbook.
Well, right now, you can hire them anywhere. You can hire them in Chicago if you want to. But as long as they're not going to be here over the year and a half, they're not going to have to move anyhow.
What's our? Do you have any idea what our turnover rate is down there, or do you did any demographics of?
39 to 40. Our turnover at the Hub, 39, 40%. We've got at this stage, we're at 60% retention.
Okay.
Now,
Have you did any demographics of how long those leaving or separating was actually with us? Aside from our rec directors that stayed just 2 months.
well,
That was funny.
I don't have
You got it.
I've got
Yeah. Okay.
overall retention, but I don't have the 18-month, figures on that,
Well, I think every
Got
effort
some
should,
seasonal employees that we separate because they've been inactive long enough, and then
Right.
they come back to us, and some of those are in city, some are out. We
I
are
thi-
restricting, with having the restriction that if not waiving this, we essentially go forward, continue to have a restriction of the talent that's out there that we can choose from. We've got qualified individuals that we can select.
how does it restrict you from where you are right now, Chris?
Pardon?
How does it restrict you? It hadn't restricted you in the past. Why would it be restricting you now?
They may not apply. If they see that 10-mile radius, they may not apply. They may not know they have 18 months.
Well, they're supposed to when they're interviewed.
Our recruitment, it's already, we go to great lengths to recruit and to get the word out there of what positions that we need to fill. And
All right, we require everybody that full-time obviously to move, we know that. But the part-times, they don't have to move unless they're gonna be here more than a year and a half. But that's my question. I just think every effort should be made to recruit and hire within the county at least. But I see a lot of these are out of the county without having to move in. So they can live there the full year or as long as you want to be without having to move. That's not fair to the full-time people. So anyhow, that's my questions.
It's up to you guys. You wanna think about it and work on it later, we can do that. Doug?
I guess the two probably positions I think of down there at the hub, and I'm kind of zeroed in on the hub, and it's a workforce that's required, are lifeguards and fitness instructors. And, you know, we have a good pool to choose from, but that pool could be increased if we were to lift that as far as lifeguards go. And I know lifeguards are critical to your operation down there, to even have the pool open. So, you know, I myself am okay with it, because it's gonna give us a broader pool to pull from. That opportunity should be given through classes or training opportunities to be able to get people to get certified as a lifeguard. But there's only so many people that want to become lifeguards, so we can't make people be lifeguards or fitness trainers. So if we need 10 and we've only got 9 within the city, I mean, our only choice is to go outside.
Some extensive training.
Yeah.
Cost, and not all are inclined or have the ability to do
Right.
so.
Maybe,
Group exercise instruction, in order to fulfill our members' service relative to that, both in aquatics and on the fitness floor. We have to go to great lengths to recruit and retain those individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have to say,
Very specialized. There's specific types of certifications that they have to teach group exercise, whether it's, you know, highly demanding, specialized, Les Mills classes or spinning classes, and it's tough to cover those classes.
I have kind of a prejudiced opinion on it because, I mean, I'm a part-time police officer in the city of Carterville, and I live outside of the 10 miles from City Hall, but their objective is to find officers who are competent and professional without regard to where they live, and I think that's kind of the principle that, you know, that we should establish here.
That's very good.
2009, they raised it in from what, 15 miles? The mayor, you've said no more
No.
about it, and brought it in to a 10-mile in 2009. The council voted on that.
No, it's always been 10 miles. What they did is change that,
From the
city limits to City Hall.
to the city hall, but
It was grandfathered,
Yeah.
2009
yeah,
was
yeah,
grandfathered.
I know all that.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But perhaps maybe could consider making it more full-times and do away with so many part-timers too, Chris. Maybe not be feasible, but I'd sure like for you to think about it.
There are, you said shifting from part-time to full-time?
To create a few more full-timers instead of so many part-timers, might give us some thought.
There are extra expenses to that.
I know that, but it might be a little simpler for everybody.
Yes.
Well,
That's a budget item.
yeah.
Yeah, but, yeah.
Going, you know, we don't know what's gonna happen with this minimum wage and, but going forward, it's gonna be a challenge for this council. One thing, about it, you'll never have to worry about giving an employee at the hub or any part-time employee a raise again, because that'd be mandated by the city. So,
That's why I'm saying maybe full-time might be another alternative.
well, then, you know, when you do that, you also add 40% to the cost of that salary in benefits, and then, it may be counterproductive to do that, but that's a discussion we can
Yeah.
have.
I think preference ought to be given to local people, but in the event that there are those not qualified or there may be a better fit, that would be my only thing. Not that we would say you can have the job if you live in Marion or not have the job if you don't live in Marion. That's not my intent, but I think we should do somewhat of a carry a little bit more weight if they are from here, as opposed to not from here. But the bottom line is we've got to have the employees.
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Yeah, that being
Waive the
said,
requirement for part-time employees to live within the 10-mile radius of City Hall.
Got a motion?
I would second it.
Got a second? Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Gauss.
No.
Mayor Ranella.
Yay.
And since our city attorney's here, we made any progress on trying to start litigation to recover some of our $2 million on the hub repairs?
I talked with Mr. Patton beforehand. We're gonna get something going here very shortly. We have made progress. Getting the timeline together, gathering some documents. There's a lot of stuff to do to.
Yeah, well, we've been working on that now for a couple of years and so forth. I know you're
Well,
new to
that's-
the game.
Yeah, but I'm sure there was a big learning curve from Steve to you,
That-
transition-wise and understanding the full
Well,
scope of it.
We need to
if-
make an effort to recover
Yeah.
some of that $2 million.
That's all fine and dandy, but at the same time, you know, we've had, we've hired a new architect, we've hired a structural engineer. We had to get their opinions as to what they felt was done right, what was done wrong, and those have really just come to fruition here in the last few months. So, and then we've had a change in city attorney. So, David's had discussions, and we're moving forward. We are on a timeline now. I think September, October of this year.
Maybe even sooner.
Yeah.
There's a statute of limitation 4 years from the date that the issue was discovered or should have reasonably been discovered. It looks like, and Doug and I are gonna look into this more closely. I think June or July might be that deadline. So we have, if it's not the next meeting, shortly thereafter, I think the council.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, number 14, we need to table. Glenn?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we need to go into executive
this
session
first?
for what?
Want to do this before you go in or not?
We can.
They've done it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take actions on, out of executive session,
Oh,
but,
well,
if,
right.
we can just wait.
Okay,
Before everybody leaves, Friday is our police chief's, last day of work. She'll be taking her, vacation time till April the 1st. At 2 o'clock, we're gonna throw a party for her down here, so, come by, say goodbye to her, and, we'll kick her to the curb, and, we'll have some nice gifts for her. Shania Twain, yeah, so anyway. Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session. I'm sorry, did you need to address the council? You? Okay. Okay, all right. All right,
I'll make that motion.
okay. Need a motion,
second.
a second, going to executive session for purposes of contract and real estate.
And
Call the roll.
we will action on it when we come out.
We should have actions on, number 3.
Okay.
And consent agenda,
Well,
work that in.
we'll work that in later. Call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Gauss.
Yay.
And Mayor Ranella.
Yay. Okay, for the media, we will be taking council actions on, 3A and 3B.
Mayor, do you want to do, since White and Borgoni are here. Do you want to, do
We can discuss that first, yes. Yes, we will do that first.
who's got it here?
Yep. The white, yeah, we'll do that first.
David, would you-
Are we on the clock? Got a motion on the floor? Got a second? Hearing no further discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower?
No.
Commissioner Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
And, Commissioner Ross?
Yay.
And Mayor Renella?
Yay. Okay, B, council discuss approved bidding process on fire station addition.
Make a motion to approve the bidding process, so we get bids, take it for the second and third.
Got a motion and a second. Hearing no further discussion, call the roll.
Okay, Commissioner, Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Patton?
Yes.
And Commissioner Goss? This is, Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Okay, now Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
Mayor Renella?
I am passing around the contract that needs Commissioner's signature for it to go to the firefighters.
I've got next pages on this also, but you might worry about it. Jim,
Hey, do I still have to sign? I better hold off on it until I.
yeah, we don't have time to do much with this, is the problem.
I don't think they need your signature if we didn't vote yet.
Actually, the only things that are changed are underlined, are basically the salary items.
But it might have been some things maybe could have been changed. I'm not saying there should be, but I'm like Doug, it'd been nice to have time to kind of think about it. But it's,
We've talked to John Hubman and Brett Markey on more than one occasion.
I'm sure you have.
And they say the same thing every time. We've got our contracts down to money.
And insurance. Very few things to
Money.
bargain with.
Yeah, it's strictly money involved here.
Are the, was the man, he's still taking. Anthony.
Through the years of the retirement,
Yeah, I'm-
insurance is really,
Yeah.
really gonna hurt us if we can't do something about it.
Well, I mean, right now, until we get some funding,
Yeah.
we can't. I mean, this
We
is,
got $800,000 a year, I think
this
it was
is
what
just
Steve
a-
told us.
this is just an unfunded mandate.
That's right.
Put upon us. We didn't want it.
Yeah, I understand
I
that.
mean,
Adam, you have something?
I don't think he has to, you know, Gail, I don't think Angelo has to sign if he wasn't a yay vote.
No.
no, you do not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, here, I'll take it.
We have another one that has to be signed. We have two copies that have to be signed.
Actually,
Actually,
if you have yours, oh wait, here's,
This one's unmarked.
I just need an unmarked one. Mine's the draft.
Well, we would always, if they have an unmarked signature page, we can put it on another plain sheet. Then copy.
Yes, please.
Okay, Commissioner Hightower, do you have anything to bring for the council?
No.
No. Commissioner Pat?
No, sir.
No.
Consent.
Oh, all right. I thought we thought do that the first time.
No.
I move we pay the monthly bills, so the funds become available.
Forgot to, Doug.
It's been a long night.
Second that.
Yes, got a motion
Still got more to
second, pay the monthly bills as funds become available. Hearing no further discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower, Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
Mayor Danella.
Move we pay the consent agenda.
Second.
A motion second. Hearing no further discussion, call the roll.
Commissioner Hightower, Commissioner Patton, Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
Mayor Danella.
I move we adjourn.